Texas isn't for everyone, and as you do your research, you might stumble upon some crazy things about Texas that just aren't true. Is everything bigger in Texas? But how big is Texas really? Do I need to start wearing a cowboy hat? Do I need to start saying y'all? Does everyone have guns in Texas? Texas is just a red state. The only thing to eat in Austin is barbecue. Stick around with me as I walk you through all of this and give clarity on what it's really like to live in Austin, Texas. Now, this channel covers everything about living, eating, working, sleeping, playing here in Austin, Texas. If you're interested in getting more content like that, you're going to want to like and subscribe. Also, if you're considering moving to Austin, Texas, then you're definitely going to want to give me a call, give me a text, give me an email. I'm an agent here in Austin, Texas, and I help people relocate here all the time. Now, let's get to these misconceptions and discuss what's really going on in Austin, Texas. First one, everything is bigger in Texas. This isn't true. If this was true, then this would be a haven for ex-NBA basketball players to move here, like Shaq. Shaq doesn't live here. You know why? Because everything is not bigger than Texas. In fact, everything is kind of what you'd expect. Could you imagine buying a bumper sticker that said, "Everything is as you suspect in Texas"? No, that wouldn't sell. That wouldn't drive tourism. That's just not how it's going to go. But let's discuss what actually is bigger in Texas. First one, the state. The state itself is huge. It's the second largest state behind Alaska. So Texas is bigger in Texas? Texas is big. 2, you can expect big, large ranches. When you drive out on road trips, lots of people own large swaths of land. Also, the Texas state capitol is actually taller than the national capital in Washington, D.C. People here seem to care about that and take pride in that. So there are some things that are bigger in Texas, but no, not everything is bigger in Texas. Next one, the landscape here in Texas is beautiful. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's beautiful. If you're coming out here expecting landscape like you would in LA or Colorado or Miami, I think you're going to be a bit disappointed. A lot of Texas is flat. That being said, especially if you're moving to Austin, consider looking out towards the hill country. There you get a lot of rolling hills and it's pretty lush and there's beautiful lakes out there. But for the most part, don't move here if you're looking for breathtaking views. For some folks, this might even be a deal breaker. It just depends on where you're coming from. Here's another important thing to consider about the land. About 95 to 96% of the land in Texas is privately owned. So if you're looking to move here and you have high expectations about enjoying our national parks, and maybe in your head you're envisioning what's typical out west with the national parks out there, it's just not the same out here. Our biggest national park, Big Bend, is beautiful, but it's also an 8-hour drive away from Austin. It's really great. Just don't expect expansive public lands for you to enjoy here in the state of Texas. It's just not a reality. Next one, Western fashion. As you're doing your research about Austin, Texas, you might start to think that maybe everyone out here is wearing cowboy hats and walking around in cowboy boots. That's just not the case, especially not in Austin. Now, that's not to say that you don't see those types of folks dressing that way from time to time, but it's really not the norm here in Austin. However, the further and further you drive from the city center, you are going to start to see more and more of that. Now, some folks might be telling you that Texas is the whitest state. That's simply not true. Actually, Texas is one of the most culturally diverse states in the United States, and that plays over to Austin too. Here's a rough breakdown of the cultural diversity of the city. The population is roughly 33% Hispanic. Many of these folks are of Mexican descent. It's around 48% white, around 7% African American, and around 8% Asian American. Many of these Vietnamese, Indian, Chinese, and Korean. If you're coming from another major city, it might in fact not feel as culturally diverse. That being said, if you're coming from the outskirts of the country and moving to the city for the first time, I think it really will. Obesity. Listen, everything is bigger in Texas, and that includes the people, right? No. Actually, we could get that bumper sticker back out and say, most people are typically sized here in Texas. Again, I don't think that'll sell well. That won't sell well. Here's an interesting stat. In 2023, 34% of Texans were classified as obese. The national average is 34%. So, the obesity rates here in Texas very much so align with the national average. That being said, obesity rates in this country are pretty high. So, Texas is about as obese as your typical American, which might be kind of obese. I'll say this, having lived in Miami and in New York for over 10 years, moving here, I really didn't see much of a difference. That being said, the temptation to eat tacos is drastically higher here. But no, I don't see an excess of overweight people here compared to other cities. Next misconception, guns. People tell me that they hear that folks here all have guns and that they're wearing them out and walking around the streets with their guns all the time. This is only partially true. Texas actually has the highest total registered firearms in the nation. It has over 1 million. Also, more Texans purchased guns in the first quarter of 2024 than any other state. Yeesh. Yeah, it's true. Now, although it's true there are a lot of firearms here in Texas, its per capita rate is influenced by the total population. And Texas has a large population. It actually ranks 26th among states in terms of gun ownership, with roughly 45% of adults reporting that they have guns in their household. Again, from my perspective, moving here from New York, it definitely feels like there's a lot more guns here. That being said, no, they're not wearing them out and about on the streets. While open carry is legally permitted here in Austin, it's really uncommon. In fact, it's often discouraged by the city. The weather in Austin is just crazy hot. This might be kind of true. Yeah. It's pretty hot. If you're not a fan of the heat, this might not be the ideal environment for you. I've lived in warm climates, and this is definitely one of the hottest. If you're into winter sports like skiing and snowboarding, this is not the place for you. Texas summers are some of the most brutal in the country. That being said, I've noticed that a lot of folks here use summertime as a great time to go on vacation. In fact, there's multiple flights every day from here to Denver. Those flights can be as cheap as $150 and the flight time is less than 2 hours. I love going to the mountains, and I've noticed that a lot of folks here in Austin take the summertime to do trips like this to places like Colorado just to get away from the heat. Hey, if you've made it this far and you feel like you're getting some value out of this video, why don't you click the like and the subscribe button down below? Doing this helps tell the algorithm that more people need to see this content. And it would really help me out on my mission to provide the best possible content about living in Austin to folks like you. Also, if you're considering making a move to Austin, Texas, then you should definitely give me a call. My contact info is right there. Call me, text me, email me. I help folks move here all the time, and I'd love to help you too. I know you're not used to calling or texting the guy on the screen, but if you're looking to move to Austin, Texas, you should definitely reach out. My contact info is below and it's in the description. Reach out to me and we can make the magic happen. Now, that out of the way, let's get back to these common misconceptions about Austin. Some folks have told me they're nervous about aggressive drivers here in Austin. Allow me to ease your concerns. There was a 2024 Forbes study that assessed confrontational driving behavior state by state. Texas didn't even make the top 10 list. Now, technically, road rage is on the rise here in Texas. Austin's population is rising, and therefore so too does the driver frustration just getting stuck in traffic jams. And you can see and feel this the worst on I-35, right on the east side of downtown Austin. That being said, it's all about perspective. If you're moving here from the country, then yeah, the traffic might feel a little intense for you. But if you're coming here from another major city, the traffic is probably going to feel pretty easy for you. From my perspective, I don't really think it's that bad. And you rarely hear a honk. I've actually seen multiple honkless accidents in Austin. It's crazy. I really feel like the laid-back Austin culture translates to the road, and people seem to take it pretty easy. That being said, let's talk about drive time. Texas is a massive state. Driving from one end to the other could take 10 or 12 hours. This is discouraging if you're the type of person who loves going on road trips to other states. Now, don't get me wrong, you can definitely do these road trips. It's just gonna take a lot longer. Now, although drive times across the state can be really long, I do find drive times in the city to be not too bad. In Austin, if you live somewhat central, I feel like you can get almost anywhere in the city in less than 20 minutes. Now, if you're living in the neighboring suburbs, it can take a little bit longer. It really just depends on where you live. We definitely got to move to Texas. There's no state income tax. Yeah, but hold on. Many people are excited to move to Texas because there's no state income tax. That's true, but we do have high property taxes. I like to think that the deficit from not having any income tax is made up by these property taxes. Property taxes in Austin usually run 2 to 3% of your home's assessed value. So let's say you have a 2% property tax rate and your home is assessed at around $500K, that's still $10,000 in taxes you're due. These taxes can get costly quick. So just keep that in mind. Although there is not any income tax, there's definitely high property taxes that you need to consider. Let's talk politics. Many people think that since Texas is a historically Republican state, that wherever they move in Texas, they're going to be surrounded by Republican voters. That's just not the case. Most cities in this state have voted Democratic, and that's the case with Austin too. Many people say that Austin is a blue oasis in a red desert. And if you look at this map, you can see why. This clearly shows you that although the state is pretty Republican, the cities within it are pretty Democratic. With Austin in particular, within the city, you can expect a pretty liberal culture. However, once you drive outside of the city limits, you'll definitely start feeling less and less of that as you go. Let's talk barbecue. Let's do it. Let's talk the meat and potatoes. Let's talk barbecue. Some folks think Austin has barbecue and that's all Austin has, just barbecue. No, Austin is a big city. We have all types of cuisine. Although we're definitely known for our barbecue food, we also have incredible Mexican food. We have a booming food truck scene here too. Austin is a major city, and so you can expect every type of cuisine in abundance in this city. I'm talking Thai, I'm talking sushi, I'm talking Italian, I'm talking Vietnamese, everything. In fact, in 2024, 7 different restaurants in Austin received a Michelin star. Needless to say, there's tons of incredible food here that you need to try. You should probably move here. Speaking of that, if you've been considering whether or not to move to Austin, Texas, I recently did a really good pros and cons video that covers everything you'd need to know. It'll be popping up at the end of this video, and I think it's definitely worth checking out. Otherwise, as always, if you're thinking of making the move to Austin, Texas, guys, you got to give me a call. Here's my contact info right here. I'm an agent here in Austin, Texas, and I'd love to help out. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I have folks who are looking to make the move to the city reaching out to me all the time, and I love helping. These folks reach out to me through seeing these videos, and you can reach out to me just like they do. Don't hesitate to take down this number below, reach out to me, and I can help make your move to Austin fun and easy. Thank you.